In the past 2 weeks, Fallout 4, Bethesda's latest addition to the post-apocalyptic franchise, has had over 1,900,000 people playing the game. That's like an entire city worth of people. But in part 1 of my review, we already discussed what I consider to be the most engrossing parts, so today, for part 2 of my Fallout 4 review, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the actual gameplay, starting with combat. I'm Alana, welcome to Button Bash. While a lot of Fallout 4's combat is dependent on your special stats and on how thoroughly you loot environments, there's always VATS to fall back on. VATS is a combat queuing system that allowed players to select specific targets like a head or a leg in slowed down time, all the while providing percentages on how likely you are to hit those targets. Fallout 4's VATS is really similar to Fallout 3's, except that it slows time instead of pausing it completely, and critical hits are no longer random. They're influenced by a critical hit bar that you can charge up and use, which is partly influenced by how many points you have in the luck special. You could absolutely play Fallout without using VATS, but it's both a nice homage to earlier Fallout games when the series had turn-based combat, and it offers pretty significant gameplay variety, as well as kind of feeling like a comfort in some of those tense moments. The combat outside of VATS is like a very basic, almost lifeless FPS. Sure, you can shoot stuff, this time fairly efficiently in both first-person and third-person modes, but you wouldn't play it because you enjoy the shooty bits. They're more appealing in the risks they offer to your resources than they are in actually playing them, I think. One thing that is particularly fun about the combat is weapon crafting. Fallout 4 features a totally modular system for weapons, letting you basically take entire guns apart to turn them into totally different things, with the help of seemingly unimportant trash you've looted throughout the world. You can meddle with the basic stuff like scopes and clip sizes to the entire identity of a gun. Say you have the base for a plasma weapon, totally your choice whether you make it a pistol or a rifle depending on what you tack onto that base. And each weapon mod or upgrade you equip is totally aesthetically reflected, which I particularly enjoyed. It's like almost every single tiny mod you make will make the physical appearance of the weapon change too, kind of like it's growing along with you. The same applies to clothing and armor. The way that modular system works also just doubly rewards you for exploring the world. Things that didn't matter in previous Bethesda games suddenly have uses. This does also mean you're even more likely to be over-encumbered and have to drop a bunch of stuff off at one of your settlements pretty regularly, because there sure is a lot of stuff to grab. Oh, did I mention settlements? Another particularly sweet feature of Fallout 4 is base building. There are specific areas across the map that you can take over, attract settlers to, and build sweet stuff, using a system that ranges from pretty simple creative fun to fairly complicated generator-powered buildings that you can control with chainable switches. The base building actually feels like a game of its own. It's such a huge time sink if you get yourself addicted to it, which isn't hard, especially because some of the more complicated stuff can provide an actual challenge to assemble. The, oh crap, I need to Google this to figure out how to do it kind of challenge. Admittedly, that is partly the game's fault in that the interface can be a little obtuse and it's likely to be lost on you pretty quickly unless you pay close attention to the tutorial, but it's incredibly rewarding to experiment with both as a personal creative outlet, but also because it adds even more to the world. It's like every other location you stumble across has to have been made by someone, and those people have a history, and it kind of adds some extra perspective by making you, too, build a settlement up from the ground and manage the happiness of your settlers in accordance with the resources you have to offer them. Without the weapon crafting and the settlements, Fallout 4 already would have been a massive game that I don't doubt people would have easily sunk 50 hours into, but they both add compelling gameplay variety that doesn't just feel like an afterthought, and to help further shape the universe in their own subtle ways. But seriously, there is absolutely no shortage of stuff to do in Fallout 4, and I feel like that almost excuses the laughable glitches you'll run into every 10 minutes or so. Your dog companion getting half stuck in a wall, someone's leg disappearing, objects spinning when they shouldn't be. It's super glitchy, as most Bethesda games are, but those glitches honestly never bothered me in the slightest. All in all, Fallout 4 is incredibly good value, and it's easily one of the best next-gen games that has come out so far. Though I have to particularly recommend it to fans of open-world exploration because I think that's where it truly shines. Maybe hardcore FPS fans wouldn't enjoy it so much. I'm Alana, thanks for watching Button Bash.